All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Multiverse. And I did want to let you know that when this is all done with, I am going to do a fast forward with this game. What that means is, let's say there ends up being 35 videos in this playlist. What I'm going to do is go in for each one of them, just do a quick little minute encapsulation. So, what it allows you to do is in around 20 minutes, it lets you encompass as long as possibly a 2 or 3 month game. So it's something new I'm playing with. I've got a couple if you want to go over and look at the fast forward, but it's in its infancy. I'm still working with it. I'm not doing any video editing because I'm lazy and I'm cheap. I've done video editing. I did a lot more when I was an Apple guy. So when I had an iMac Mini and I had an Apple laptop, it really is just more user friendly. That software is, and of course, it also comes bundled, so you don't have to pay for it. But I might get into that. I mean, if this channel ever really does take off to something huge, then I suppose I'd have to go, like put in the money. But at this point, this is a labor of love. I'm doing it because it's fun, and everyone seems to be happy so far. But what I can do is, as I mentioned, I can just pause the video and go on to the next in the stack and do it all at one time. And I think it'd be fun because I'm trying to start every game zoomed out like this. So one thing I could do is I could do a frame by frame advance. That would be kind of fun as well. And then kind of talk about it a little bit. So anyway, that's in the works. Down here we are wrapping up our war. Let's kind of show you this one first because it's one of my more minor skirmishes. I do have 32 aircraft down here, 17 bombers and 15 fighters. Nice little Air Force. It's just kind of playing mop up right now. Benaya is making his last push down to here, and I wanted to stick around and help him out. And, as long as they build airfields, then I'll be around to help out. But I think once this push is done, I'm going to see what comes because I think there's no question down here that this guy, who is a part of G3, I'm pretty sure. Come on there, buddy. Give me that hover. G5. Yeah, G5, sorry. Yeah, we're at war with G5 right now, so I better leave that air down there. Right now, I've got a bunch of guys floating in water for no reason at all. Zero reason. Popcat completely has this covered. They were out there early. Hey, there's a sub. What the hell are you doing, buddy? You know what? Like, these guys are just getting drunk under the ocean. Far, far from any fighting. Just in the ocean, drinking heavily. How do I know they're drinking heavily? Well, they're French. They're drinking a lot of wine. Their noses are red. And they're constantly drunk down there in their little fucking submarine. Guess what, guys? You just got your marching orders. You're coming to the front. So this is the first front we need to talk about. This is where we had some initial clashes in this region. Now I believe it's official. Yeah, I'm not at war right now with Euclid, but I'm pretty sure Papa Smitty is. Let's just check that out real quick. Smith, are you at war with Euclid? Yes. Thought so. So that is now a hot war, an open war. And Smith told me I could show what was going on once the war began. And maybe as a deterrence, because, yeah, folks, your eyes are not confusing you. 28 battleships in this stack and 39 battleships in that stack. So yes, 67 battleships, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ. And when I saw that, like, he's been building those now for weeks. And so I've been watching it and I'm just like, he's just going to keep going, isn't he? And fuck yeah, he is. Like, Jesus Christ. And I was real proud of this stack. Look at this stack, guys. Look at this. 3 battleships, but look at this. 43 cruisers, 41 subs, and he's over here with 67 battleships. Jesus fuck. And does he have some balloons over here? I know Smith. Yeah, he's got a ton of balloons there for air defense. So my dude knows what he's doing. 92 air defense. Battleships aren't that great against air, but the only reason you'd want to stack in cruisers is to have that air defense, and instead he puts much, much cheaper balloons in. So he gets the full impact of the battleships without having to worry about stacking in those cruisers. So here we are in a battle right now for the soul of America. That does make sense because I'm actually France in this game. But what I'm doing over here is the same as what I'm always doing, which is just trying to bring air support here. I did tell my teammates that that the Air Force is having a bake sale, because you can see my resources are grand. I'm doing great. I just got through dialing up my wood because I'm running a little bit low here, but look how much I can generate, 7,000 wood per hour. And so everything's up and humming, everything's going great, but I continue to lag behind in oil. So I did mention to any of my allies that right now I am not at full productivity. I've got factories that are sitting there empty, and sad factory workers who are standing there on the production floor just with their dicks in their hands, which that's not a terrible thing, I got to say. But anyway, they'd rather be building airplanes. So if anybody wants to donate, we're doing good on all fronts here. If anybody wants to donate oil, remember it is for our unified Air Force. I will put that oil to good use. I will lube it up. I will oil it down, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want these fighters to come down here. I was going to show you this if it's still to be seen. I've got this bomber force down here. Right now, I don't have any airfields to the south and east. I have messaged Papa Smitty about that. But it's one of the things about this mode that I'm playing, this specialty mode, is that I am limited. I don't have any troops on the ground to build any air force here. And here's why. Here's why I want airfields down there is I'm not coming down with my bombers anywhere close to this goddamn hornet's nest of fighters. Look at that. 135 air damage. They're close to being maxed out. As soon as you get to 50 fighters, you are maxed out. And that's just a mean little hornet right there. Mean nest of hornets, I should say. It's a whole forest of nests of hornets. And I'm not going down there. I'm not going to do it. So whether or not and when I say I'm not going to go down there, can you see the inner ring there? That's how far my fighters can get. So I cannot attack into that mess down there without, I'd have to go alone with my bombers, and I'm not going to do that. Having a decent amount of fighters in my stack, I've got 37 fighters. That's not as good as his 47, obviously, but it's enough to where, along with let's go ahead and see what my air power is here. Yeah, so I'm close to his air power, along with all those bombers, because those bombers do have, I think, 0.6 against air or something. So they do something against air. So altogether, I'm pretty much his equal. Let's see, that was 134. His over here was, I've already forgotten. That's how great my memory is. 134 to his, everything is in slow-mo these days. Yeah, my 134 to his 135. So pretty evenly matched. I don't love that match, though, because I'm going to be losing some bombers, and he's going to be losing only cheaper fighters. So not loving that match. So what I am doing, let's go ahead and, so you can see what I wanted you to see. Let me take some time, because this is what's fun about this stage of the game. And from now on, each of these videos is going to have this. I think I mentioned to you that my 500 Nation War is one of my most popular videos on my channel. Weirdly, it blew up. But the reason is, I think, because you get to see these giant stacks. Now, we're not there yet. We're not to the 3,000, 4,000 infantry stacks, but we're getting there. You can see Smitty's moving forward here with some serious gunpowder here. And he's talked about this, and I kind of love it. He doesn't like to waste his time with artillery. He will go straight to the heavy tanks. And, I'm really fascinated by that. There's a couple things that result from that. Number one, you're not slowed down by your goddamn cannon. The cannon are so slow, right? They're 25 just standard. And then when they're on enemy territory, they're even worse. They're like 12 or something. Not even that. They're like 8 or 9 or something. They're just awful when you're moving on enemy territory. And so I kind of like that strategy because they travel at the same speed as infantry. And then the other thing, of course, is that they don't knock down the buildings as much. So you can come in and kill the enemy and still have more infrastructure left over when you're done. So very interesting strat there with the massive tank buildup. I commented on that, a week ago or so when I saw how many heavy tanks he was producing. I was just like, I don't think I've ever seen a stack, even in one of the big games that I've been in to the bitter end. I don't think I've seen a stack of like 90 heavy tanks before. Just haven't seen that strat go down. So it was pretty cool to see. Over here, now we're starting to get into those stacks of over 1,000. Oh, it's fun, and it's fun to see them clash. We still have not come up against Eucla in Eucla's full might. Here's another stack up here as well. And yep, I believe that's Zin Zin here coming in with mighty stacks. He's coming in from behind with some reinforcements as well. So as we scroll up here, we're missing half the story here. Now, I've been seeing this too, that my allies' air forces are continuing to build up. And that's sort of the natural result here, because they're continuing to expand. Their economies are continuing to grow larger and larger, whereas mine is kind of frozen in time. I mean, I know I'm trying to industrialize, but it doesn't matter how much you industrialize. There's only so much you can, accomplish with a limited area. So what's happening here is what I kind of anticipated, is that at some point, my allies, especially the big guys, are going to surpass my Air Force, even though that's only, 20, 30% of their total budget. It's just going to eventually surpass me, which again, that's fine with me. I can still have power and influence. I can still have, some sort of effect on the game, even when they surpass me in Air Force. So here we're coming up all the way now to Popcat's forces here. Oh no, this is Poland. I'm sorry. This is Poland in the center. Yep. Cannot forget Poland, because Poland has been a really, really powerful ally. I will say this to Poland. If you're interested in air support, I feel like my allies down there have it pretty well under control. I do see a pretty ugly stat coming in here. But then again, I do see, oh, look at this. Poland with yep, nice stack here that will counter whatever this is just fine. So very nice. Okay, Poland knows what he's doing. He's just got lighter stacks down here moving along his flank. And it does look like there is a counterattack in effect here. And that's a pretty decent stack right there. 5 heavy tanks, 10 tanks, 31 artillery, and half a century of infantry there. So not bad. Half a millennium, isn't it? Okay, so I do have bombers up here, but and he built an airfield right here. Oh, I love it. That means I can and will happily attack this. No, what's going on? This is what happened to me last time. Okay, so it's not built yet. Okay, so I did reach out to him. Oh my God. Look at this. So this is when the game gets really big. It gets sticky, and when you try to drag it, it doesn't go, and then when you release it, it just sort of slingshots over. So this is fun. For some reason, it's got me. Oh, all right. So this is a little bit confusing to me. Oh, it's just too far anyway. So yeah, even once I'm at that airfield, I'm just trying desperately to drag this over. So no, once I'm at this airfield, let me just re-click so I can see what it'll look like with the new dotted line. So that's what's going on here. Even if I go to this airfield, which I'll go ahead and go, because there's obviously enough stuff there to defend me, I still can't quite reach this stack here. So this has been something that I've kind of been dealing with, and it's okay, because what I can do is just go ahead and attack whoever's around, So I'll just go ahead and rather than even go to that border territory, I'll just attack straight out of this base over here. And that way I do feel better about, the nearest threat is 6 guys way, way over here. Just being on the frontier, I've just been jumped and had my entire Air Force deleted so many times. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. Here's what Poland is bringing right now. We can see on the map about 1,500 up here. Together with these is about 4,000 now up here. Down here, make that 5,600. I think we can safely say, with the troops down over here, that we're well past 6 and probably more into the 7,000 infantry moving either on the front or near the front. And I fucking love that. I love those big stacks. It's what makes the late game a lot of fun to watch. And I think we can officially say we are in the late game. It's happening. This guy is using some complex flower strategy here. I love it. Moving in some mighty stacks, but layering them so that each one of those giant stacks gets multiple. They each get their say there. So each of those arrow tips is its own individual attack into this central location. By the way, they're engaging individually as well in this melee combat out here with whatever this guy sent forth. So again, keeping them going to different locations keeps them from glomming back together and gives them their own individual attacks as they move forward. So good play up here. And we are finally now up to Popcat. So Popcat's up here. Let's see if I can, I think at one time I was able to do this, gather my allies units. Yeah. So look how much stuff he's got there in that stack. Over 2,000 with 90 artillery. And what Popcat did up here is worth talking about. He somehow encircled a giant force over here. There was a very large force. I mean, I want to say like over 1,000 enemy infantry and plenty of support troops. And Popcat was able to encircle him and trap him and kill him. And then I was on our Discord and I was like, dude, like build me an airfield. I want to come shoot some of those fish in a barrel. And but he didn't need that. He didn't need the air support. As you can obviously see, he's got artillery moving from both sides. Looks like this artillery has killed off whoever was in range. So, but it's over. There's two sad tanks left over there. So Popcat is really active up here in the north. And does look like I was unable to determine whether or not there are any neutral northern territories up here, because it appears neutral to me. That doesn't mean that it is neutral. Let's see if this guy is at war with our friend Popcat. North Tobelisk, are you at war? You're at war with Pays de Loire, who is Popcat. So very good. Okay. So yeah, he's moving across the front up here, and it's been a good steady progression there. This is some of our strongest players at work right here. So we've got Farkas here in Poland. We've got Popcat up here in the north, and we've got Zinzin and Papa Smitty down here. Those are our four strongest players, no question. And it's worked out really well strategically. Then it's not an accident, because these guys have been putting themselves in position for weeks now, but they are going to be able to push together into Asia. And despite the violins being played over here, there is a lot of power over here. I'm not going to waste time going around to each individual player as I did last time, but I think we kind of showed that like they have more victory points than we do, and by a significant margin, as long as they play together. And I assume the plan is to play together, especially Bob and Euclid over here. Not sure how that's all going to come together. You can see I'm still not at war with Euclid. There's not really a reason to be, although I suppose I could just go to war with him, because morale is not my biggest priority. However, again, talking about that production thing, I have noticed in my territories, my morale is starting to go down, and I had it at 100%. And that, of course, impacts my production. And of course, I've been bitching about production, so I'll go ahead and stay out of war with him for the time being. So this brings us back to where I wanted to end the video. This is my beautiful hellscape. And so it occurred to me, what's part of what's going on, why I'm low on oil, is that I'm competing with myself. So as I go around try to build planes, I'm also seeing where I don't have level 4 factories, and I'm building those up. So let's just take a minute and observe, because again, I've never seen anything like this in terms of industrialized nations. Let's go to construction here of buildings. So just pay attention to the factories being built over there. I'll just kind of scroll slowly down here. Factories. Tons of them. I don't know how many factories I'm building right now. I think about 12 or 13 factories. So that's fun. But of course, each one of those has taken a lot of my resources. Let's come on over to production and take a look at that. So we got 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, 9, 10 bombers. But I'm going heavy fighters because I saw those fighters down there. So let's see what we got here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16 bombers, 16 fighters rather, 16 fighters and a battleship. So those fighters, you can see a lot of them are just built because I'm jumping in there, and some of them are almost done, but I'm going straight fighters from now on. I want to have a massive fighter presence. I'm pretty happy with the bombers I've got. And I now have three air forces, three independent air forces operating in different theaters. One, of course, is in South America, one is in Central Europe, pushing into Asia, and one is down in the Arabian Peninsula. So at some point when we have that final showdown, I'm going to unify those. And that'll be fun too. Um, and then, when I say unify them, I mean put them in the same region, because there is a point where they max out. It would be so much fun to have like 4 stacks of 50 fighters and 50 bombers, just completely maxed out demon stacks, and just have several of them where you could just lay waste. So that's the goal anyway, ladies and gentlemen. So one more appeal to anybody in my alliance. I just want to pause here and say, I think we all want this to come to pass. I think we all want this to happen, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we need to happen to my country. So if you can afford to loan me your oil, lend me your oil. It's going to a good cause. It's feeding starving baby fighters that need your help. So anyway, that's it for the universe. I encourage you to check back with us, because these stacks are only going to get bigger, and the major engagements have not happened yet, because the East is still not showing their fangs. That particularly means Babo up here and Euclid down here. And of course, there are these in the middle here who are really pushing back, but they're facing some strong armies coming in. But keep in mind, Asia is quickly reinforceable. These are their homelands that we're moving into. And of course, we're starting to move further and further away from our capitals and our own homelands. So soon enough, we're going to see some giant stacks interacting. And that's a lot of fun to see in this game. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for checking in. I'll see y'all next time. Adios, amigos.